The treatment I received was appalling. I was supposed to go for a marriage introduction, but it felt like I was a prisoner captured by the enemy. The mother-in-law and sister-in-law looked down on me with cold stares, and even my fiancé turned against me. She's ugly, but she'd make a good maid. What a poor-looking face. I'd like to see her parents' house. A good maid? What an absurd thing to say. It seems my fiancé has no intention of having a proper marriage with me. I was cautious, but I never thought it would be this bad. I've had enough of feeling so terrible. I've decided to clearly break off this engagement, but before that, I must get my revenge on these three. Then I'll invite you to my parents' house. My reply surprised the sister-in-law. Both the mother-in-law and my fiancé couldn't fathom my true intentions. These three ridiculed not only me but also my deceased parents. I can never forgive them. I'll show them. My heart was burning with anger. My name is Anna Cooper. I am 26 years old. After graduating from university, I started working at a foreign company because my uncle Robert told me it was a good company to work for. To me, my uncle was as good as a parent. His words were absolute. In fact, I lost my parents in a traffic accident when I was a child. Since then, I was raised by my uncle and his wife. At every critical juncture in my life, whether it was education or employment, I sought advice from my uncle. Of course, this included my relationship with Sam. A friend introduced me to a man 3 years older than me. His name is Sam Thompson. Is that so? You're dating him then? It's quite moving that Anna is getting her first boyfriend. Yeah, I think I'll date him. Can I get some advice like usual? It's about a man and a woman. I shouldn't interfere, but it's important to carefully judge who you're with for a happy marriage. Deepen the relationship cautiously. Love is a game. My uncle often taught me that. However, it's a gamble not only with a partner but also with one's fate. If you choose a terrible partner without knowing, you'll waste precious time in your life. In that sense, my uncle advised me to be cautious. Taking his advice to heart, I approached my relationship with Sam. Sam was my first boyfriend. Although several men had approached me before, I always turned them down. The reason was that there were other things I prioritized over a romantic relationship like studies and employment. Looking back, maybe I am less passionate about love than other women. Sam often said, "Anna, you're really cool. Anna, you're really cool. You're different from any girl I've dated before." Different? In what way? Even when I pick you up in a luxury car or confess that I'm the president of a company at this young age, you're not surprised at all. Normally, girls would scream with excitement. I just responded with, "Oh, really?" Sam had lost his father to illness a few years ago. He had taken over the trading company his father managed and become the president at 29. Every time we met, he boasted about his wealth and privileged environment as if to emphasize it. Being wealthy seemed to be something he was very proud of. It was a feeling I didn't quite understand. Actually, dating Sam was quite luxurious, I think. We dined in high-end restaurants with views of the cityscape and watched sports in VIP rooms. It seemed like he was testing how much luxury it would take for me to be surprised or moved. At the same time, I think Sam was not planning these rich dates for me, but for himself. He dressed himself in expensive brands from suits to ties, belts, and watches. Driving around in luxury cars and escorting his girlfriend to high-end restaurants and VIP rooms was how he saw himself. He was clearly intoxicated with himself. From any angle, that's the only way I could see him. Perhaps that's why he was always so fussy about my appearance and behavior. Anna, come on. It's a fancy restaurant. At least wear a dress. What are you talking about, bringing me here on a whim? Besides, I checked before we entered. There isn't supposed to be a dress code here, right? Do you have a problem with that? I'm embarrassed, that's what. This is why I can't stand commoners. It started around then. Sam began to deride me as a commoner. It seems that me honestly revealing that both my parents had passed away had a big impact. He must have assumed that I was living a financially struggling life because I had no parents. Whether someone had financial power seemed to be a critical point for Sam in choosing a marriage partner. I thought I would probably be dumped soon. I expected to be told it was over the next time we met. That was my thought. I never imagined that he would instead press for an engagement. What? You want to get engaged? With whom? No, I mean with you, Anna. Were you even listening? Sam laughed in disbelief. I was confused. Why? I honestly wondered. In Sam's eyes, I should appear as a solid and pleasurable commoner woman. Moreover, one without parents and in a financially tight situation. That's what he must have thought. Yet he proposed an engagement. Why, really? I couldn't help but wonder. Maybe it's because with Anna I can be myself without any pretense. How about it? Don't you like me? Won't you get engaged to me? Uh, well, just an engagement for now. The momentum of the moment is truly frightening. I think I was foolish to agree so easily then. As expected, I ended up regretting it tremendously. As soon as we got engaged, Sam's attitude towards me became careless. Hey Sam, there's a place I'd like to try. Would you like to go next Saturday? Next Saturday? Pass. I've got something else on. Is that so? Yeah, sorry, it's rare that you ask me out. With that smirking face, I had an intuition. This man surely had other women he was keeping on the side. I had no evidence. It was just a hunch. There was just a feeling. I had no reason to hesitate in pursuing it, so I directly asked him, "Who are you going with? Another woman, right? Can you tell me the truth?" What? No, that's not it. I'm meeting a male friend. Really? Is it safe to believe that? Of course it's safe. Are you jealous? I didn't know you had that side. There was a sense of being deceived. Sam was probably lying. For the moment, I decided to let him be. I became curious about what Sam's true feelings were. He sees himself as upper class and views me as a commoner. People of this type usually seek partners who are their equals. Why then did he choose me, who, from his perspective, should be beneath him? My questions remain unanswered, and as time passed, Sam's behavior changed. He made no effort to spend time with me. He would go out frivolously without specifying the place or company. Finally, I had to suspect that he was cheating. Hey, it's about time you tell me the truth. Where are you going and who are you meeting? You're annoying. It's none of your business. Women shouldn't meddle in what men do. You, a commoner like yourself, should be grateful to be engaged to someone like me. What's with that way of speaking? Have you always had such thoughts? No, sorry. I went a bit too far. That was just a slip of the tongue. I don't usually think like that, so you can relax. Perhaps it was because I was so taken aback. Sam seemed to have regained his composure. After letting his emotions burst, he oddly became gentler, and no doubt he made this suggestion to make sure he wouldn't lose me. Come over to my place. Come for a marriage introduction. I want you to meet my mom and sister. Sam invited me with a forced smile. I felt it was distasteful. What is he aiming for? What does he want with me? Out of sheer curiosity, I accepted Sam's invitation. This was the night after the discussion about the marriage introduction. I confessed everything about my exchange with Sam to my uncle. I told him I was intrigued because I couldn't grasp his true intentions. "That's a bad habit of yours," my uncle admonished me with a slight sigh. "It's good to be curious, but one wrong step and you could be in big trouble. Generally, you shouldn't take engagements lightly. I advise you to proceed with caution." "I'm sorry, I thought I could cancel the reservation at any time." "This isn't a ticket to an event. Anyway, since we have future plans too, don't let your guard down. And be sure to watch how he behaves." "Okay, I'll try that." My uncle reminded me not to forget to thoroughly check his social circle and background. I told him that I somewhat knew his character and had heard about his friends and background from him. My uncle shook his head, obviously frustrated. "Can you rely on self-disclosure? What I'm telling you to check is the objective assessment." "Are you saying Sam has been lying to me?" "You yourself feel like there might be something behind it, don't you?" "Yes, but... right, he hasn't laid everything out for me. Things about the house, his possessions, his social status. Sam has been bragging about various things, so I believed him naively. But there's a possibility that he's lying, and there are things he's still hiding. As my uncle advised, I decided to thoroughly investigate Sam and his family. On the appointed day, I dressed properly and visited Sam's home. His family home was a detached house with a garden. It was a very stylish and spacious house. This house seemed to be another source of pride for him. Sam greeted me with a grin. "Hey, welcome. Glad you could make it. Come on in." "Thank you for having me." "Pretty nice house, huh? How much do you think it is?" "Just the house alone is $1 million. Surprised, right? It's the best house in this area." "Wow, that's impressive." Sam continued to boast, seemingly not listening to my indifferent response. He bragged about having a home theater in the basement and a pool in the garden. The way he kept boasting one after another made me wonder if he had a script. Sam probably tells the same stories to everyone who visits his house. That's why he sounded so rehearsed. I started to tune him out partway through. Sam led me to the living room where he introduced me to his mother, Grace, and his sister, Vanessa. "Nice to meet you. My name is Anna Cooper." The reaction of the mother-in-law and sister-in-law at that moment. I will never forget the faces of those two mocking me. It was so striking, like a caricature of scorn. Sam, seeing his mother and sister's reaction, quickly joined them in ridiculing me. "She's ugly, but she'd make a good maid." What a poor-looking face. "I'd like to see your parents' house." A good maid? Only then did I realize a glimpse of his true intentions. Sam never intended to have a proper marriage with me from the start. I was cautious, but I never thought he could be this despicable. And his mother and sister knew his real thoughts all along. Basically, it was a family conspiracy. These three never intended to treat me as a family member from the beginning. I thought it was the worst. What an unreasonable bunch. I no longer wanted to deal with these people. Sam said something that strengthened my feelings even more. "Sorry, Mom, sis, Anna is so unfriendly." "It must be because she has no parents. Her emotions are broken. Please overlook that." "It's because of her parents." "Oh, really? Born to such bad parents. Poor thing." "No wonder she always looks so glum." No parents, huh? Unbelievable. Did she grow up in an institution? I'd really like to see her home. Then I'll invite you to my parents' house. My reply made the sister-in-law's face show surprise. Neither the mother-in-law nor Sam could read my true intentions. These three ridiculed not only me, but also my parents. I could never forgive them. I'll show them. My heart was burning with anger. Shall we go now? It's nothing spectacular, though. No, I mean, of course. What? Your parents aren't around, right? I never checked before, but Anna, you live alone, right? I live with my uncle and his wife. They raised me. I see. Well, let's meet your family then. First impressions are crucial. We need to speak frankly. You should be grateful for even considering marrying such an ugly girl. The sister-in-law laughed loudly, saying, Mom, you're too much. I couldn't laugh at all. This was the first time I was mocked so blatantly. Like mother, like kids, perhaps. The mother-in-law's personality was even worse than Sam's. There are many things you don't realize until you interact with someone. I was glad I came. I honestly thought that. Then, shall we go now? My uncle should be home today. Okay, got it. Let's go say hello right away. Nice. Let's greet your uncle who raised you then. I'm really looking forward to it. Ruin of a place for a poor family. Their smug expressions vanished the moment we arrived at the location. All that remained were their wide-open eyes and slack jaws. No wonder. My uncle's residence is a mansion worth over $5 million. Compared to this, Sim's house felt like a rabbit's hutch. The three who had been mocking me as a commoner and bum dweller were now utterly dumbfounded. What's the matter? Please, come into the property. There are many things I'd like to introduce you to. The pool in the garden, the home theater, the wine cellar. Each aspect is quite impressive. No, you're evil, Anna. If you were upper class, you should have said so sooner. Now we can get married without any worries. That's great. When I glared at him, Sam immediately retracted his smile. It seemed he understood that I had no intention of marrying him. The mother-in-law and sister-in-law both swallowed nervously. I must have looked very scary. Silently, I invited the three inside. Of course, I had informed my uncle beforehand. The interior decoration, furnishings, and facilities of my uncle's house were far superior to Sam's residence. The three, overwhelmed by the vast difference in economic power, had become completely subdued. What's wrong? You've been quiet. Any thoughts? You said you wanted to see my parents' house, didn't you, Vanessa? Sam said it too, but aren't you a bit evil? You've been quiet about being rich, right? You were deceiving Sam, weren't you? What was that for? Is that so? I just never mentioned whether my family was wealthy or not. The rest was all Sam's misunderstanding. I never intended to deceive him. Sam Thompson's affair partner is a young employee at his company. Her name is Megan Smith. Scenes of them entering and leaving a hotel have been captured. If he can still dismiss this as a joke, that would be quite something. You like Megan, but you didn't want to marry her. You knew that if you made her your wife, your mother and sister would torment her. Isn't that right? Us? Torment your wife? Is that really what you thought? Come on, Sam. Mom is listening. Explain properly. Yes, that's right. It's obvious she would be tormented. I know very well how mean you two can be. How could I possibly make Megan my wife? That's exactly why. He tried to marry me. He saw me as a poor person from the bottom of society. In a way, I was a scapegoat, a sacrificial lamb. I was someone who could present to his mother and sister without regret. That's what Sam thought. Publicly, you wanted a marriage in name only with me while you maintained a close relationship with Megan behind the scenes. That was your plan, wasn't it? Your mother and sister must have suspected, right? The sister-in-law and mother-in-law exchanged glances. True to their kinship, they seemed to understand each other's thoughts with just that. Of all things, the mother-in-law began to denounce Sam. Really, what a worthless son to be cheating, and we will speak sternly to Sam. I'm so embarrassed to have a son like this. Thank you, but there are other reasons why I decided to break off the engagement. You, mother, are one of them. Huh? Me? What did I do? You're blaming Sam, but I think you were pretty despicable too, aren't you? Aren't you aware of that? The mother-in-law stepped back as I glared at her. She apparently didn't expect to be attacked directly. She's the type of woman who would insult a stranger's face, calling it poor looking. If you asked 10 people, all 10 would probably say she's terrible. Moreover, she seems unaware of her status. I decided to lead her to this realization. You seem to be quite active in the neighborhood association, celebrating school admissions and adult milestones, community cleaning, festival, recreation. You show up in various places. Well, that's my role. It's community service. Everyone is thankful to me. You really weren't aware, were you? Mother, you are very disliked by the community, you know? Uh-huh. What? What are you basing that lie on? It's not a lie, but the result of thorough investigation. The mother-in-law is disliked by many in the area. The reason is her terrible personality and her foul language. Like her son, she brags a lot. Such people are naturally disliked. It seems everyone is too polite to say anything strong. They are very reserved. You take advantage of their kindness and get carried away. Please be ashamed. Their kindness? I'm getting carried away? Yes, that's right. How many people have you bragged to about being wealthy? It's surely not just 10 or 20 people, is it? I'm sure all of them dislike you. That can't be true. Absolutely not. The mother-in-law's voice was clearly flustered. She must have realized something was amiss. Perhaps she was shocked by the sheer number. As she continued to mutter to herself that it couldn't be true, I turned to the sister-in-law. The sister-in-law is on the defensive. She's completely on guard. Among these three, mother-in-law, sister-in-law, and Sam, I might dislike the sister-in-law the most. She hasn't married, is over 30, and doesn't try to work, instead spending her time on casinos and slots. Yes, she's a gambling addict, a hardcore one at that. The funds come from the money left by her father. How much of the money left by your father have you spent? Please answer honestly. What? How do you know that? Is that true? Vanessa, have you been tampering with the money your father left without permission? Just a little, only a little. But is that really all? Vanessa's love for gambling is serious. People like her, once they get hooked, it's game over. They quickly use up their savings and end up destitute. Also, I was surprised to find out in my investigation that you, sister-in-law, have a problem with alcohol. That's definitely true. Sam, you keep quiet. The sister-in-law loves to drink, but she can't handle her liqueur. When drunk, she becomes many times more aggressive than when sober. This has caused trouble in public places, often bothering staff and other patrons. Many people have had unpleasant experiences because of her bad habits. Having someone in the family who becomes violent when drunk is absolutely unacceptable to me. Sorry, okay, what can I do? I'm just weak to alcohol. That's not something you should be defiant about. Why don't you look for a way to drink without causing trouble for others? How many bars have banned you? I don't know. Mind your own business. Just leave me alone. I really think it's none of my business. I wouldn't have spoken if they hadn't demanded to know why I was calling off the engagement. Vanessa is glaring at me with furious eyes. Truly, what an aggressive person. It's rare to find someone curious enough to consider marrying such a person. I may not be one to talk about others, but I think the sister-in-law is completely done for. Sam muttered. Please stop. He was completely deflated and slumped over. His face said he didn't want to reconfirm any more unpleasant aspects of his family. This way of investigating isn't normal at all. You've looked into everything. This isn't normal. What were you planning? Anna did nothing wrong. I was the one who told her to investigate thoroughly. My uncle, Robert, entered the living room with a firm stride. Sam opened his mouth wide in shock. He looked extremely surprised. Sam knew Robert's face. He hadn't realized it because we have different last names. Chairman, Anna is your niece? You said your name was Sam, right? Yes, Anna is my sister's daughter. Is there a problem? Anna, why didn't you tell me earlier? If I had told you earlier, I might not have seen your true nature. Indeed, keeping my relation with my uncle secret until the end was the right move. To Sam, my uncle would have been the group's chairman. If Sam had known I was the chairman's niece, he would have acted differently from the start. He would have pretended on the surface and hidden his true feelings, never revealing his real intentions to me. I didn't want that kind of relationship. It was really the right decision to follow my uncle's advice. Sam, when I found out you were dating Anna, I thought about it. I also decided to investigate your company's poor performance and clarify the cause. What? You did that too? Let me be clear, you've been treating the company as your personal property, and it's a family affair, especially your sister. Hasn't she been getting you to funnel company money into her gambling? Vanessa's expression stiffened. It seemed he had hit the mark. Robert sighed deeply. Your family has serious issues. I cannot allow my niece to marry into it, all right? Yes, I'm terribly sorry. Sam's shoulders slumped. The mother-in-law and sister-in-law also looked dejected. Later, my former fiancé's family went downhill. At a board meeting, Sam was ousted as president. Desperate, he and his sister squandered what was left of their savings. Eventually, they had to sell belongings, their car, more belongings, and finally their house. Now, the three of them live in a cramped apartment, blaming each other for their troubles. I'm truly glad I didn't become a part of that family. Sam's misfortunes continued. He was sued by his affair partner, Megan. It seems that having a relationship with Sam was not really Megan's intention. She tearfully claimed that Sam had coerced her into it while he was president. Sam was charged with a sex crime without consent and later found guilty. Given the severity of his actions, he received no probation and was sentenced to 6 months in prison. Later, thanks to my uncle's introduction, I met a promising man of my age. He's the son of my uncle's best friend, a solid character, and also an entrepreneur. After several dates, I felt this could be the right person. Considering my first relationship was with Sam, who was terrible, most men seem better by comparison. This makes me a bit too lenient at times. But this new boyfriend seems genuinely wonderful. I'm glad I met him. I don't want to disappoint my uncle who introduced us, and I'm thinking of marrying him. Thanks to my uncle, I avoided becoming a part of a dreadful family. That's truly a relief. I hope to make my parents in heaven rest easy by finding happiness.